Good morning, game makers. Today I'm going to show you something that probably is going to make you a little mad that I didn't mention during the fruit game. And I'll show you that in a minute. But before, I just want to show you some things that I've already done to get prepared for today's lesson. Number one, I've created a sprite for the enemy bullet, and I did not do anything to it. I didn't scale it or anything like that. I may decide that I wish I had later. I also loaded a sprite for enemy 2. I've already scaled it up, and it's as you can see, it's yellow, but it looks pretty similar to enemy 1. And I went ahead and created the object, but I haven't done any programming yet. And I want you to notice something. So I'm not going to program, I'm not going to put a single event, a single action in the enemy. All I'm going to do is simply say that your parent is the object basic enemy. Now, I already put one of these in the room. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to think about, okay, how is this going to behave? There's no programming at all. All Mr. White did was say your parent is object basic enemy. And I'll run the game. As you know, I've already have a enemy 2 in the room, and you can see that it works. It goes down the screen the same speed as the object basic enemy, and um, it is destroyed. You'll just have to take my word for that. So when you make an object and a child of another object, it inherits all of the behavior that you haven't specified. Now, what I do want to do is you can see that it actually copied over the create step in collision with the bullet from the object basic enemy. But if I specify a create event. If I say, okay, you're going to have your own create event, but still inherit this behavior, I want you to notice what happens, or at least I know what happens in GameMaker 1.4. Okay, well, it didn't work quite the same. Um, if I start to specify behavior over here, it'll overwrite the parented behavior. So I do know that I want to create an alarm. And I'm going to set an alarm, and right now it's set for 30, and I want it to actually this alarm to go off uh, after a second plus I'm going to say random 180. So that means uh, anywhere from 1 second to a total of, what would that be, 240. So anywhere between 1 and 4 seconds. And when that happens, when this alarm goes off, I want it to create an enemy bullet 1. And the only thing I did for enemy bullet 1 is say move down the screen. So I gave it a vertical speed of 5, which is faster than the planes. And because this should originate inside the room, when you are outside the room, destroy yourself. So that's all I did for the enemy bullet right now. Eventually, I have to do a collision with the player and some other behaviors, but for now, that's all going to work. So when I set this alarm, I am going to add the alarm event. And when the alarm goes off, it is going to create an instance of the enemy bullet 1. I want it to be at 0, 0 relative, which means it will come from the origin of the enemy 2, which should be centered. It can be on the instances layer, although there may be some weird complications. For now, I'm just going to leave that just like that. And now let's see what happens. Okay, now you'll notice, this is what I expected before, that because I specified a create event, it doesn't inherit any of that behavior from the create event of this enemy 1. It just stays there because I didn't say move down the screen. It did create a bullet though, if you didn't happen to notice. Just so you can see that again, after it creates the bullet, I also want to reset the alarm and have it go off again. So I'm going to say again 60 plus random and then 180, I believe I did before. So it should continue and loop and create bullets at random intervals. But the most important thing is when you parent an object, it will inherit all of the events that you did not specify. Okay, no, you're going to do your own thing. So again, I didn't have any movement to my enemy. All I want you to notice is that it will continue to shoot. It will do its own events that I've specified. So let's see, there's one shot. And then there should be, oh, there's another one. And we can actually destroy that enemy because it will inherit the collision event. So what I wanted you to see today was that you can set something as a parent and make it a child of something. So this doesn't have any children of its own. It has only a parent. And when you set something for a parent, it will inherit all of the non-specified behavior. So the step event, so when it gets to the bottom of the screen, not that it will because it doesn't have any movement yet, um, it will destroy itself and it will just be destroyed by a bullet. Now, just to complete this object, I am going to go ahead and give it a speed in, but it's got to be in the create event, and I'll have it move down the screen. Um, Probably, I don't remember what I set the speeds for the other objects. I'm going to try 2. So it's going to move vertically down. By the way, if I put a negative number here, what do you think? How would the movement be? If you said it would move up the screen, you're right. Gosh, you're getting so smart. So let me just show you this. Now my enemy will move down the screen, and actually it's the same speed as the background, so that looks like crap. But once it goes off the screen, it will be destroyed. So I've added an enemy 2. I gave it some unique behavior by specifying them, but I also had it use some inherited behavior. So knowing the word inherited will be on Friday's quiz, and knowing that the parent-child relationship is a way to cut down on the programming you need will also be on that quiz. So if you could just jot down some notes about that. Um, and then the last thing I'll ask you to know is that if you set up an event and put any programming in it, it'll no longer inherit the behavior from its parent. So hopefully you found that interesting, and it's something that you can use in future games to save you a little time. And the next video, I will be setting up a little bit of randomness so that some of the time the enemy 1 will be introduced to the game, and sometimes it'll be enemy 2. So we're going to use some randomized functions and create a little bit of a random outcome when an alarm that generates enemies happens. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.